Hello and welcome to New Frontiers on CCTV International. I'm Ji Xiaojun in Beijing. Sailors in any country tend to be a superstitious lot. I suppose it's all to do with the dangers associated with putting to sea. Well, if you were to go to China's southeastern coastal regions and ask the local seamen about their superstitions, one name that would be bound to come up is Mazu. According to folk tradition, anyone who found themselves in danger at sea would only have to call out the name Mazu and she'd come to the rescue. However, the belief in Mazu is not confined to the southeast or even to China. Come to that. As the goddess of the sea, she is one of the most popular deities in the world. She is said to have as many as 100 million devotees and 1,500 temples in no fewer than 26 countries. Well, today we're beginning a brand new series tracing the fascinating story of Mazu, the girl born to an ordinary Chinese fisherman's family who became a goddess.
She was born to an ordinary fisherman's family on China's southeast coast. Her life was very short. She died in her 20s. Yet emperors of several dynasties bestowed titles on her, from heavenly concubine to celestial mother. Temples in her honor draw worshippers from every corner of this vast country. She's also recognized overseas in more than 20 countries, including the United States, France, Denmark, and Brazil. She is China's guardian goddess of the seafarers. Still, today, in her hometown, she's known simply as Mazu. But how did a simple fisher girl become one of China's most revered goddesses? In 960, the year when Emperor Taizu founded the Song dynasty, the girl who would be known as Mazu was born to the Lin family of Puqian in Fujian province. She's said to have been different from the very moment she was born. Instead of crying, she opened her eyes wide, as if to gaze at the world around her. Her parents named her Lin Mo, meaning silence. It's said that from the age of 7 or 8, she'd never uttered a word. But from the time she was a teenager, miracles started to occur around her. One day, while her father and elder brother were out fishing, she stayed at home weaving with her mother. In the early afternoon, the weather changed suddenly. Lin Mo was worried and started to pray silently for her father and brother. Somehow her mind was carried all the way out to the sea, where she witnessed the blustering wind and the deafening sound of waves crashing down on their small boat. She saw herself seizing her father and grabbing hold of her brother's clothes with her teeth. Her mother noticed the unusual look on Lin Mao's face and worried that she might be ill. She called her name repeatedly until, in her subconscious, the daughter responded and returned from her reverie. But knowing that her brother had died, she began sobbing. Later, the father told the sad story. He explained how a god had come to rescue them, but his son had disappeared beneath the waves while he himself was flung onto the shore by some supernatural force. Word soon spread about how Lin Mao had dreamed what had happened, and people began to marvel at the young girl's amazing powers. From that day onwards, Lin Mao was associated with rescuing shipwrecked sailors. Often, at the moment of greatest danger, sailors would see a young girl in red. With a sweep of her long sleeve, she would calm the raging seas. Then she would turn it into a colorful cloud, and as the sailors knelt and gazed up at the sky, she would disappear. In her prime, Lin Mao was a beautiful young woman. She had many suitors, but was determined not to marry. Instead, she would devote herself to rescuing fishermen from peril. Sadly, at the age of just 28, she passed away. Her death gave rise to many legends. For example, that she had been seen climbing onto a huge rock and transforming into a cloud that ascended into heaven. Compared with other figures of ancient mythology, Lin Mao's was a sad death. But history is often clouded by heart-touching stories. Contemporary records contain only the briefest of references to Lin Mao. She may have been born to a fisherman's family, and the likelihood is that she was a simple fisher girl. At least two historical records from the northern Sung dynasty state that Lin Mao's true identity was a witch. There's nothing unusual about a witch becoming a deity. The Book of Min records 263 deities in the area of what is today Fujian and Zhejiang during the Tang and Sung dynasties, 61 of which had backgrounds in Taoism or witchcraft. Being a witch during her lifetime and a deity after death fits with historical precedent. Lin Mao's first appearance as a historical figure is associated with the great emperor Huizong. According to the collected Sung documents, in 1123 AD, Emperor Huizong presented the inscription Shenji to the temple of Lin Mao. Thus, for the first time, a deity with a background in folklore was granted official recognition. Liao Pengfei was a scholar from Fujian at the time of the Southern Sung dynasty. In his book, The Rebuilding of the Shenji Temple, Liao records how Lin Mao attained such an honor. In the 5th year of Emperor Huizong's reign, an official named Lu Yuandi was sent on a diplomatic mission to the kingdom of Koryo on the Korean peninsula. On its way, the fleet was caught up in a storm. 7 of the 8 ships were wrecked, leaving only Lu Yuandi's flagship to struggle through the perilous waves. Suddenly, a red cloud appeared in the sky, and a dancing goddess approached them. The raging sea was calmed. The survivors knew they'd been saved by divine intervention. But they had no idea of the goddess's identity. Only later was Liu Yuandi told that they had been saved by Lin Mao, a witch from Maizhou. It was after learning of this miracle performed by Lin Mao that Emperor Huizong granted the name Shenji for a temple in her honor. Thus was Lin Mao's reputation established nationwide as a leading deity from the many produced in her own hometown.
But just how much truth is there in the story? In recent years, scholars have confirmed that Lu Yuandi's mission did indeed take place. Only Lin Mo's appearance remains a matter of fiction.
Xu Jing was a member of Liu Yuandi's embassy. In his illustrated book about the mission to Koryo, Xu Jing recorded the voyage thus. The voyage was in no way extraordinary. The embassy arrived in Koryo as planned, although it did encounter trivial danger on the return journey. This was easily overcome with no casualties suffered and no ships wrecked. So nowhere in the book is there any mention of the goddess Lin Mao. History has shown that deification doesn't necessarily need a reason, especially not when Emperor Huizong is concerned. An artist and devout Taoist, he was fascinated with mysticism. He proclaimed himself the Taoist emperor and presided over huge Taoist ceremonies. Since Taoists were found in every corner of the land, it was natural that deities took numerous different forms. It was an age when many deities were created that would later become widely accepted. Most of them were attributed to the religion-obsessed Huizong. Against such a background, it's no surprise that Lin Mao, the witch, should have become a goddess by imperial decree. Lin Mao is known by many titles. She was referred to as Madam or Concubine during the Sung dynasties, as the Celestial Goddess in the Yuan and Ming dynasties, and as the Celestial Mother in the Qing dynasty. The name by which she is best known, though, is Mazu. Mazu originates from the Fujian dialect, in which it's an honorary title for an elderly woman. She goes by many other names, all of which demonstrate the respect and closeness people felt for this legendary figure. It's taken hundreds of years for nature to carve the hard rock into the blooming flowers' shapes. Mazu is blessed with many areas of natural beauty. Ever since Lin Mao became associated with the goddess of the sea, people have linked the unique landscape here to her mythology. Here at the birthplace of the goddess, legend has it that there was a reef far out to sea that would emit light at dawn. This reef was Lin Mao's magic weapon, with which she would illuminate hundreds of square miles of sea at night. This would so frighten the evil spirits in the sea that they would flee away, leaving